This conference will
Good
now be
morning.
recorded.
Everybody hear me okay? Right. How are y'all doing? Good to see you. Bright and early. Everybody bright and bushy tail. My name's Ted Smith, Chairman of the Board for the Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank you for being here at our Eggs and Issues. We've got a really good topic. I think everybody's looking forward to hear from Lisa King and hear what she has to say about the merger with the hospital. Before then, I would like to recognize a few people that we have. We have our mayor, Jimmy Miles, here. Hello, Jimmy. County Commissioner, there we go. Robin Dolly in the back. And we have Visit NAC Executive Director Sherry Morgan also in the back. Hi, Sherry. And on our hospital board, we have Dr. Ryan Head, Fred Grover, and of course Lisa King. And then NEDCO Executive Director is Larissa Philpott, standing up in the back for the coffee cup. There we go, we'll call her out. And then with NISD, we have the President of the Board, which is Pam Fitch. Hi, Pam. Superintendent Gabe Trijo. Hey, Gabe. And then from the Nacogdoches area, United Way, certainly not last, but certainly not least, is Gary Lee Ashcraft. All right. I walked up to Gary and I said, y'all know Gary, we've been training for triathlon, and I said, hey, did you run your 7 miles this morning? He just kind of looked at me, little piece of egg out, and he goes, no. That's all right, Gary, I didn't either. All right, guys, at this time I'm going to ask Miles McCall to give us an invitation.
Would you pray with me, please? God, you provide for us. You provide pathways. You give us an opportunity to follow. You provide food and nourishment. You provide a wonderful community. You provide great education. You provide strong opportunities for businesses. And you provide health care. Let us always remember that you put a path there. Give us the wisdom to follow it. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Miles. Appreciate that. And at this time, we're going to have Point A Media come up and tell us a little bit about the 2022 publication for the Chamber. Comes Angela. We are all welcome.
Thank you, Jen. Appreciate it. Well, I don't know how many of you can hardly believe that it's July, going to be August, and we're talking about the 2022 Chamber publications. Here they are, right here. Chamber has a few of those right there. I hope all of you have seen them and loved the 2021 edition. And on your table is a postcard highlighting some of the wonderful new creative artwork we've got for the 2022 Chamber publications. As a vital hub for our entire region, Nacogdoches County Chamber of Commerce provides resources and information to businesses big and small. The 2022 Nacogdoches County Chamber official guide and chamber directory and the official county and cities map will help spread word about the chamber, what the chamber does to support and promote East Texas' vibrant and diverse business community. Ads in these publications are seen by thousands. We would love to have your business be a part of our efforts to bring Nacogdoches County to the world. The Chamber's mission is to help Nacogdoches businesses grow and prosper. And we do this by cultivating strong connections and advocating for our shared interests in regional, state, and national levels. These award-winning publications have a whole new look for 2022, and we want to help build those connections and create new opportunities for your business and this community. In addition to the new design, the membership directory is filled with valuable information, specifically targeting new residents, home buyers, entrepreneurs, business owners, new SFA students, SFA faculty, economic development prospects, including site selection managers, and recruits for all of our businesses. Our church, when we were looking for a new pastor, we sent each of our applicants copies of the directory and the map. We wanted them to know what a vibrant, wonderful, beautiful community Nacogdoches is, and that's what you see in these publications. People can learn all about our schools, our parks, our wonderful places to go and things to do for their families. So we work really hard on these publications to make them show all that we know and love about our beautiful community, and we want to send those out to the masses. So with your help as an advertiser and chamber member, we can do that. So we'd like for you to take the postcard, contact myself, Angie Brewer, or Morgan McCrory. There's Angie, and there's Morgan. We'd be happy to help you design a beautiful, creative, innovative ad for your business to help showcase it and let the rest of the community and the world know what's going on in Nacogdoches, Texas. So, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we have Wayne Mitchell come up and give us a little update on the calendar and things going on with the chamber.
Thank you for that welcome applause. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here today, and thank you, Chairman Ted, for chairing this meeting this morning. It is my pleasure to. First of all, I'm trying to get over a trauma of a dream last night. I confessed this morning early that I had a dream, and the primary person in the dream was Miles McCall. I don't know what that means, but the good news is he landed the helicopter safely. No idea where that came from. But it is a pleasure to welcome you folks here this morning. We do have a few chamber events on the horizon here, and I'd like to share those with you. The Chamber Board of Directors will meet on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. at the Chamber office. We'll have a ribbon cutting on August 2nd at the Stonehouse Kitchen. And I'm pleased that today we have John and Anita. They're here today from Stonehouse. Would you just wave to us, please? Yeah. Great to have you. We're looking forward to joining you next week. We'll have the Nacogdoches Chamber stakeholder, the next conference call, and that will feature a presentation on housing in specifically apartment availability in Nacogdoches. We learned yesterday from Mike from the Nacogdoches Salvation Army about the tight housing market and how it's a challenge for them. And the good news for us is we couldn't have anybody more qualified than Mary Montniac from Mighty Woods Apartments Association and her colleague from the State Association join us on August 3rd to give us an update on that. So hopefully you'll join us as well. Also, we'll have a ribbon cutting at Tidal Wave Auto Spa on August 12th, and that'll be at 11:30. And just want to remind you folks, you need to be marking your calendar. The Nacogdoches Chamber annual meeting will be held, no more postponements, on September 28th at 6 p.m. in this beautiful facility here at the Fredonia Hotel Convention Center. So we hope you'll join us. I do want to acknowledge our new members, which we haven't done for a little while here. We've got lots of them, and I hope you'll bear with me for just a second. Anytime Fitness, which we just journeyed to a few days ago for a ribbon cutting. Jethro's Cajun Eats and Po' Boys. I hope I said that well with my main accent. Samuel Dental Center, which is located on University, and you haven't seen that new facility. That's great. Lady J Salon and Cut. We've got a ribbon cutting coming up soon. I think this afternoon, as a matter of fact, at 4:30 p.m. So hopefully you'll all leave here, go to work, and then join us at 4:30, Lady J. And then we'll have Lumberjack Axe Throwing. I'm really looking forward to that one. Ted has agreed to stand in front of the board so I can get a few practice throws in. So Nacogdoches Hope, Texas Mutual Insurance, Copy Center of Nacogdoches, Royal Bee Threads, Stonehouse Kitchen, East Texas Roof Works and Sheet Metal, and REK Outfits. Let's give those new members a round of applause. And joining us today at Sherry Williams' desk, the membership director for the chamber, would you welcome James King from Andy Hughes? Bridget Kojash from Firehouse Knack Art Studio on Swift. And Candace McGuire, Life of the Party Balloons and Rentals. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's no secret that there's been a lot of activity associated with Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital in the last couple of years. I think all of us have been following very closely the challenges and the opportunities that facility and the board of directors has been pursuing to help position help position Nacogdoches to be really the premier center for healthcare. We're blessed to have two great hospital facilities here, along with several emergency care facilities as well. All of us believe and recognize that the future of that hospital is critical to the future development of Nacogdoches. I'm pleased to introduce the president of that board of directors, Lisa King. Since I've been here, Lisa and I have interacted in several different ways. Her position in community leadership in a variety of ways in Nacogdoches is well known from her involvement with the Rotary Club, other organizations in town, and certainly the leadership that she's provided as both a board member and president of Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital. So it's my pleasure to introduce you, my friend and my colleague, and our board chair, Lisa King, to discuss and to hope to educate us on the developments associated with Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. I recognize, I looked at Wayne a minute ago and I said, you know, I forgot to send you my CV, but who cares? Pretty much everybody already knows. We've been a little busy at the hospital, so I was probably a little distracted. So Wayne, I apologize for that. Many of you already know me. We moved to Nacogdoches in '67 from Chicago. Quite a culture shock. Mom and Dad moved back to Florida, and I just stayed here so much. Married a Texas boy and have been here for quite some time. But for me, growing up in the hospital, I've been a nurse since 1976 and literally started working in hospitals when I was about 20 years old as a nurse tech. And actually, I was one of the original employees at Nacogdoches Medical Center in 1975 when they opened. The very first night they opened, I was working the night shift. So I stayed there for quite a few years, ran the ER for many years, went to Woodland Heights and Lufkin to help them open up a new outpatient department in the ER department. So I've done a lot of corporate hospital work as well as with our hospital district. So it's given me a bit of an interesting oversight into how all this works. Did a little stint down in Houston at another corporate hospital down there. So, excuse me, I figured out corporate pretty well. I think the important thing that I want everyone in this room to know is that Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital will retain that name. Lion Star is the company that's coming in. Well, it's already in, that is partnering with us, the hospital district, to operate the hospital. You, the citizens of Nacogdoches, own the bricks and mortar of the hospital. We did not sell that. So we all in this room are the landlord, if you will, of that hospital. So the hospital district, which has a 7-member elected board, will go on. We are bound by legislation. That's how our whole hospital district came about, and that will continue because the things that we have to manage are the ambulance service. Wade Blake, will you raise your hand? Wade is our EMS operations manager, so you'll be seeing a lot of him out in the community. We will be working with the ambulance service. They will continue to work with the district. The foundation board that we have and the foundation will stay with the district. The volunteers that everyone knows and sees in the hospital will stay with the district. We'll also still be managing the pension fund, the bonds, the QUIP program, which is a quality assurance program that we have with some nursing homes in Texas. So all of those things will continue to be managed by your hospital district. So I don't want anybody to think we're not going to be there. We, the hospital district, won't be operating a hospital, which is nice, isn't it, Fred and Ryan back there? Dr. and I will be members of the Lion Star Advisory Board. They are an advisory board with people in the community, people in the corporation, so he and I will still have a voice and be able to offer our opinions and actually be voting members of their board as well. So all of that will go on. You will still be represented in the things that they do. So anytime you have a question or call Dr. Ryan Head at his office. He'd be happy to talk with you about it. We're both available. Fred, all of us are available. We actually have our first independent, if you will, board meeting tomorrow. at 11:30 at the hospital. We've got things that will continue to carve out, separating us from Lion Star that the board will have to vote on. There will still be things that will be going on. Part of our contractual arrangement is a thing called a TSA, and it's literally a transition agreement that we have with Lion Star. We will be sharing some services for a while. We'll have to do things for them, and they will do things for us. So it's really nice to have that kind of an arrangement with them. We have gotten to know them very well in the last 5.5 months. The amazing thing about what transpired, some of you will remember that we entered into an agreement with another company in January, and literally the night that we signed that agreement with them, Rhonda McCabe, our CFO, CEO, got a phone call from the Lion Star guys. And we had actually met them. They were a different company when we met them about 2 years ago. And they kind of liked us, but they just weren't sure. So they kind of went off on their merry way. And then now they called and said, hey, we're really interested in you guys. What do you think? So they came out, we got to work, and next thing you know, 5.5 months later, they are now the new owner-operators of Nacogdoches Memorial. So when you say this is literally a whirlwind of a deal, it has been. We have been dealing with upwards of 20 attorneys. Everybody knows what fun it is to deal with attorneys. But, you know, and big firms in Texas that literally, one in particular that does healthcare, Texas hospital trustee work. And that, when I found out that was who was representing Lion Star, I was very, very pleased with that, because I met their lead attorney back in 2000 and the early 2000s when I was back and forth to Austin doing a lot of work with Texas hospital trustees and lobbying for rural health care. And I really was impressed with them, because you talk about somebody that knows hospital districts, their attorneys really do. Our attorneys, you know, we consulted with a firm called Dykema in 2018. Our engagement with them was, oops, we might have to go down that ugly bankruptcy route. We don't want to. What can we do together as a hospital to keep us from going that way? We knew we needed to find a partner, somebody that shared our views for healthcare, especially to continue to provide indigent healthcare. And so with the work of Dykema negotiating with us, Rhonda McCabe, who I've said it a million times, she could sell Jesus the Bible. She is the best negotiator that I have ever met. And she literally, with the rest of the team, kept us from having to file bankruptcy. None of us wanted to do that, but we wanted to make sure that our hospital would go on, because it has such a mission that is so critical to Nacogdoches. Yes, we have 2 hospitals in Nacogdoches. We're kind of a hospital and a half community, but both hospitals provide very important services to this community. And what the mission now is with Lion Star is they want to bring us back, and I still say us because I'm still part of it, to our glory days, to where we were in the early 2000s, 2010, all of that time frame, when we were the trauma center, the stroke, the chest, everything. And as things changed with reimbursements for healthcare, we saw that slip, because as a hospital district, yes, we are the one safety net for the people of this county. So we do provide the indigent care. As everybody knows, there's not a lot of money that goes along with indigent care. It can be quite a drain. So being able to manage that indigent care, help those patients, help them find services is something that is absolutely vital. And we, the hospital district, will work with Lion Star to manage those patients, to make sure they find a funding source, if at all possible. And if not, then they will get identified into the indigent care program, and we, the district, will pay for their health care. So Lion Star will bill us, the district, and we will reimburse. Another part of the arrangement is the rent. You know, people have said, oh, you're just giving the hospital to them. They get to do whatever they want rent-free. No, they don't. There are many, many assurances built into these contracts that deal with indigent health care. They will provide a minimum of $9 million of indigent care every year, and that is their rent, okay? One thing that we hope, and I hope everybody in this room will talk with your representatives, we want Medicaid expansion in Texas, and should that happen in the next 2 to 4 years, we would hopefully see that indigent care population decrease because they will then have a funding source, i.e. Texas Medicaid of some form or fashion. So they know, wow, quite a statement there. They know that they will be responsible for rent should that happen. And that's all part of the things that are in our agreement. So it's not that we're just giving this away to them. In Rotary, we charge you $10 for that. Right, Ted?
That's right.
Okay. Anyway, that's one thing we wanted everybody to understand. There have been other questions that have floated around about, is this a legal thing to do? Can you actually do this? Because when you read the Texas government's code, if you're ever kind of having a hard time going to sleep, pull it up and read it. It's very interesting. But every county that has a hospital district has a very specific Texas government code that pertains to that county, okay? So you have to really drill down and find Nacogdoches County and that government's code. And it discusses things like you cannot sell, or you cannot do this, you cannot do that. But yet when you read the one specific to Nacogdoches, leases, absolutely, no problem. So we had to do the research. We had to make sure that everything that we were doing was perfectly legal. And I tell you, with some odd 20 attorneys, they're not going to make a mistake like that, simply because we have attorneys that work in the hospital district that understand our code and that code as well. And they look at these things, and literally before documents were signed, I'm texting. Is it okay? Can we do it? Yes, go sign those documents. Everything's fine. So when Dr. Head and I signed those documents, we had legal literally on the phone with us talking about all the things that we would do. So I just want to assure everybody that this deal is not going to be something that can be turned upside down and shirked away. It is the reality of our hospital. I am so confident in them. Sean Fowler and Ed King, no, he's not related, but I'm so confident in them and what their mission is. I just can't tell you the relief that I have, and I'm sure Dr. Head and Fred share that with me, that we have made the right decision for this community. It has not been an easy thing to do. Having been with the hospital for a long, long time, been on the board for a really long time, I've seen the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. I've seen the good things happen. I've seen some things that were not great. And still signing that document, my heart was beating very fast. It was all I could do not to tear up, because this is my baby. And it was very poignant to sign that document and know that we were not actually going to be operating our beloved hospital. But the beauty of it is, as Dr. Head just drilled it down to a perfect statement, I'm going to plagiarize you, Ryan, if I screw it up, correct me. What we now have are two different entities. You have Lion Star and you have the hospital district. Each of those entities is responsible for putting $1 million into the operations for the facility every year for the 10 years that this deal goes on. So what we have is a 10-year contract plus 3 5-year additions. Okay, we vote for that. We haven't had that in the past. We have literally been in replace or repair what's broken. We haven't had the luxury to go out and spend money on new equipment, new things, to give the employees the decent wages that they so deserve. Now we will. And to me, that is the most beautiful part of this whole thing, is you've got two very concerned groups working together in tandem for what's best for the hospital and the hospital district, the employees, the patients, the medical staff. And that to me is the clarity that I want everybody to have when we leave today, is things are going to be happening at that hospital, and it's absolutely going to be a fabulous thing. Now, the district, I'll talk about that. We do have an election coming up in November. There will be 3 seats that will be up for that. And of course, anybody's encouraged, if you want to run, you have to fill out a packet and get 50 votes and all that kind of stuff. Robin Dolly can tell you all about it. He's had to do it. So we do have that coming up. The other part of that that's so important about the hospital district, managing and operating the ambulance service. That's huge. There's 50 some odd employees at different levels, different things that they all do for that. We do have all the trucks, all of that. What we, the district, is now able to do is to put money into the ambulance service. Excuse me. The hair and dust has got me this morning. To put that in there so that we can maintain that ambulance service for the people in Nacogdoches. We will be having some fundraisers. I know we're going to have a group participating at Do That Barbecue. So you will be seeing the ambulance service out there doing things. They're going to work on their transfer services that they can do, nursing homes, doctor's offices, things like that. So we're going to be out there. You're going to see us out there a lot. Wade and his group are working very hard on that to get that out there. Our volunteers, as everybody knows, those are the backbone of the hospital. For those of you that have been in the hospital and have seen the big conference center that is right there off of the lobby, they did that for us. They literally did fundraisers, had made money, and created that beautiful meeting space for us. So the volunteers are extremely important to the hospital, and they wanted to come with us and stay with the hospital district. So I think that's going to be just fabulous. We do have the foundation. There is a foundation board, and that will be getting somewhat reorganized. We would love to have your money. We will use it appropriately. And then I'm going to go ahead, Jimmy, and I'm going to say it. The 1 cent sales tax, okay, that will stay with the district. We still have the bond indebtedness that is responsible for the district to pay, okay? Half of that 1 cent sales tax just goes straight to the bonds. We never see it, we don't touch it. So the other half is what goes to help with the operations of the hospital district and will ultimately be responsible for the indigent care, okay? So I want everybody to understand that. Back when the sales tax went into place, different time, it's there, it's legally bound, we cannot change it. And I know it would be a great thing to have for economic development. But the other thing I can say is, should we get Medicaid expansion in 2 to 4 years, and we see that indigent number coming down, we, the district, have the opportunity in our code to be able to use some of that money for economic development. So it behooves everybody in this room to really get out there and beat the drums to try to get Medicaid expansion in Texas, because it will help economic development ultimately in our county in a couple of years, well, more than that, probably 4 years down the road. So just file that into your hat. That's pretty much all I have. It's 8:34. Are there questions? Really? You got the opportunity. 3 of us are here. We'd be happy to answer questions. Yes, sir. Should I know?
I just hate to see somebody, want a question and not get one. I see in other communities as they travel around, a lot of times the hospitals, instead of competing with the exact same services, will work together and complement each other. So one will be a cardiac, one will be a cancer. Do you see this group still with y'all, maybe working more closely like that with the other hospital to see if we can't make both of them winners at the same time?
And that has definitely been discussed. And I know that Sean Fowler has already had some discussions, and those will be ongoing. The most important thing that we know is Nacogdoches will not survive if Memorial Hospital goes away, because the medical center doesn't have the capacity to pick up our end and some of our clientele, because we do tend to have some acutely ill patients in our facility. So we know we have got to work together in this community. You know, medical center does such a great job with their cancer and all of those different things that they have that we don't have. And quite frankly, we are not going to develop that because it's already being met in our community. So that's something that the hospital district doesn't have to do. So there are other services like that they will be looking at down the road. So yes. Yes.
Lisa, what is the anticipated impact on employment at the hospital?
Every employee that was employed with Nacogdoches Memorial Hospital was just rolled straight over into the Lion Star organization. No one had to reapply. No one lost. I mean, there's so many things. They took their hire date with them, so they didn't have a new hire date as of this year. They still have their 30, 40 years of service that they took with them. So that was something that was near and dear to all of us, and quite frankly, it was something they felt honored to be able to do, because they're very proud of people that have been within the organization that long. They know how valuable those people are. And one thing that Ed King said to me one day, we were talking, and to tell you about Ed, he was a California boy, but he didn't like California. He moved his family to Utah. So Ed's a good guy. But he and I were talking one night about these specific things. And he said, Lisa, you've gotten to know me well enough. You know how we feel about employees. And my heart swelled, and I said, I really do. So they are very employee oriented. They are also business people. Will there be some changes? Well, there has to be. And we, the three of us, have known for a long time that there were areas that were overstaffed. There were other areas that weren't staffed as well. We knew that we had professional nurses and other types of people, medics, that we didn't have a great salary for. So we were having a hard time recruiting and retaining those people. So that's something that they're looking at is how can we establish a good reimbursement rate, which is another battle, get our reimbursement rates up, bring money into the hospital, and reward our employees. So that's what they're all about. That's one thing that they're working on. So yes, the employees are, yes.
Does Lion Star have the option to use purchases from the hospital and they decide to exit and sell to another position?
You know, there is language in the purchase agreement on that, but when we specifically asked Sean Fowler, he said, well, think about this. There is one part of that agreement that says, if you, Lion Star, sell this facility within, Ryan, is it 5 years? It's 5 years. Within 5 years, then you, Lion Star, are going to owe the hospital district a percentage of whatever that sale is, which will be a whole lot of money. So like Sean Fowler said, why would I want to do that? That doesn't make any business sense. So he has assured us more than once that they are in it for the long run. They've got a lot of work to do. Sean is very competitive, and he said, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it, and we're going to make this deal work. So yes, there is language there. Do I think it'll happen? I really don't. And that's why we're on their board. Yes, sir.
Do you think the partnership with Lion Star will make us more competitive in attracting top talent for specialists and physicians?
I can already tell you the work that's going on for recruitment. I spoke yesterday with a cardiothoracic surgeon in Riverside, California. Really nice guy, very well credentialed, who wants to come here and get out of California. So one thing good that California is doing, they're making it difficult to practice medicine there. So a lot of those guys are thinking, let's go to Texas. Texas is a good state. So we are seeing some migration in that. But Sean, before we had signed, he was already working on physician recruitment. So you're going to see some really well credentialed and different types of medical providers coming into our community. Ryan, please.
So one of the really, you just speak something real
Yes.
specific about the line stuff. What's really great about them is that they have a ton of experience, but they're a small company. What I mean by that is a lot of times when we get people in the community say, what about UT? What about Baylor Scott? What about these mega hospital systems that can come in and really have a lot here? And while, yes, on the surface that may seem very desirable, it can actually be a double-edged sword, which is they come in, they give you rheumatology, they give you allergy, they give you home, they give you everything. Everyone goes, I got me a UT doctor. I will go to Memorial. What that does is they tend to go, why are we in that business? We're getting our lunch eaten by this mega hospital corporation. And then within 5 years, we're now a referral center for Austin, for Academy. It basically, unofficially, they Walmart this mom and pop operation. So what these two individuals do is they have connections within the hospital ecosystem, for lack of a better term. They have connections in California, Louisiana, all over the United States. They have pull, they have influence, they have ability to attract people, quality people within healthcare that you would not expect a company who's only been in existence for a year or so. So they have almost the best of both worlds. They have a large sphere of influence, for lack of a better term, but if you were to talk to the CEO of the entire hospital system, you don't have to go to Austin, you don't have to go to Dallas, you don't have to go anywhere. You can literally pop in their office and go talk to them directly. So that's why it's kind of a Goldilocks scenario. It's not too big, not too tiny, it's just right.
Ryan's good at putting things succinctly where they need to be. The other side of that is, and Sean Fowler has said this many times, I don't answer to Wall Street. So when you're talking to me, literally the buck stops with him. So that's another thing that I think is very unique in this situation. And we talk about the Rolodex. Some of us remember Rolodexes, but what's a Rolodex? They have got a huge Rolodex, and they have got a pool of people that they know they've either worked with before that they are looking at to bring here. You know, Sean Fowler is a Texas boy, grew up in McAllen. He's an Aggie. Let me there be a couple. Those are weenie whoops, but anyway. He also went to school, his MBA and all of that in Houston. But so he's a Texas guy. He worked actually for Tenet for about 10 years, but he has a lot of experience with different types of hospitals. And what between he and Ed, what they bring to us, to Nacogdoches, is just amazing. And the ideas that flow when everybody's sitting around the table together are astounding. And then sometimes an idea will come up and we'll go, no, okay, fine. They don't, they're very attuned to what Ryan and Fred and I have to say, because they want to do what's right for Nacogdoches, and they know we know the community. Ted, were you gonna?
Yep, yeah, it's unrelated to what's going on now, but you know, there's a rise in the new COVID. Have y'all seen cases increasing?
We have. You know, we went for a while there where we had 0 COVID patients in the hospital, which was really nice. And unfortunately, the unvaccinated population are winding up back in the hospital. I would encourage everyone to please get your vaccines. I mean, there's no reason not to. And I can say this because I'm not going to say anything other than Nacogdoches had an employee who Memorial had to transfer to down by Houston with COVID, who was very, very ill, 42 years old, having to go on ECMO, a full compensation type of a device to keep him alive. 42 years old, strong, hardworking person who was not doing well at all. So that brings it home, folks. So I would encourage you to please get your vaccines. And, you know, on down the road, there's so much science that's being developed about the vaccine. Will we need boosters, that type of thing. As of right now, no, you don't. You don't need a booster. I am very thankful that I don't have an 8-year-old child starting school. That's going to be a difficult situation, for families to talk about. I know Dr. Head's been up on all the science and all the vaccine work that's going on, because that's his life, that's what he does. But get your vaccine. If you don't get it for you, you're getting it for older people that may not have been able to get vaccinated, but you're doing it for the children. So a lot of you know I work with CPS and I'm very involved in the child population. That's who you need to protect, because guess what? These kids are getting sick. They're winding up in ICU. Some of them are winding up on ventilators. So we don't want that to happen. It's preventable. Okay, I think I've overstayed my welcome.
Very good.
You got a lot of information on that, took some notes, that was good stuff. We've been hearing about it, whispering about it, talking about it, now you know, so you know what you know, right? And we're gonna have Barbara come up, do a drawing. Before we do that, I would like all our chamber board members to raise your hand. There we go, everybody recognize these folks. We do a lot of work, a lot of time we meet and spend a lot of time helping move your chamber, so. Okay.
Let's get somebody from,
Commercial
commercial
bank.
bank and give away.
What's sweet Charlotte? Come on.
This nice Brett, come on up.
Everybody says Charlotte. It's not good.
Nice, crisp.
Not everybody.
Okay. I don't know. She is good at getting free lunch out of Miles at Rutgers.
No, she is really good.
Just don't break.
Come on over here.
Come on over here. Let's see. Okay, this is if you put your card in the basket when you walk
Yes, you
in.
must be present to win. Brett, no,
You got it.
you get to read. Turn it over, turn it over. Who's Scott?
Scott Miller.
He's not here.
Yeah, he's not. Scott, one of
They'll
our
get your picture in a minute.
past chairman of the board.
I know, Ted.
Okay,
Giving away $250. Actually, in Rhodium, we've got Eric and Catherine here if they want to come up to draw.
Eric and Catherine, come on down if the price is right.
Now, do I
Yes,
have
you
to
must be present to win.
does it have to be my name or can it just be my
No,
business?
it has to be your name and your business.
Oops. So who's our winner? Are they here? Let's see. Drum roll.
East Texas Mirror, Michael Kinney.
Michael Kinney. All right, if you guys see Michael at East Texas Glass, he lost $250. Okay. With that, thank you all again for coming. Thank you for being online today, and we are adjourned. Y'all have a great day.
That's great.